Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the 300-hour Q&A. I've received most of your questions already on the online form, and I have actually addressed most of you personally with those answers, but I will review them here sort of in a comprehensive narrative, so you can just sit back and relax and watch me present. And then if there are any additional questions after, you can unmute yourself or just type in the chat and I'll see it come up and I'll just weave it into my narrative. But it's pretty comprehensive, and I know from experience what types of things to address, because there's a lot of information that's on the website, obviously, that, the technical stuff, the times, the dates, payment plans, all that stuff is very clear. So what I know you want to get from me is more of like the essence, the things that are better explained through a story. And that is my way of kind of sharing with you the general experience. So that's what I'm going to do today, if that's okay with all of you. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So let's go ahead and get started. One of the questions I got was, do you have to attend classes live on Zoom, or can I watch the recording? A very valid question. I want you to attend. That's the short answer. The longer answer is, I know life happens and you're going to miss sessions. That's fine. And then the longer answer is sort of the experience that I want to share with you. I want to paint a picture of what the training is like. The training is a synchronous training. We enter as a cohort, we get to know each other, we work on things together. You get into breakout rooms to discuss questions about research and things like that. You work on your own, you have your own homework assignments, but we move together at a pace. If you just watch the recordings, you miss out. I don't get to interact with you. You don't get to interact with me. You don't get to interact with your cohort. And I can't really make sure that you're getting all the information from the training. So it is a cohort, and I would like you to be there. I understand that all of you have lives and you can't attend every session. That's no problem. I'll address the time zone question right now. People in Europe and the UK, the third session each day is very late. So you all usually go to bed. No problem. I have no problem with you missing that recording or missing that call. I post the recordings every night before I go to bed. I'm in Pacific time. And so what will happen is in the morning, you'll wake up, you'll have some free time because we don't start till later in the day for you, and you'll watch the recording and catch up. No problem. Then you'll be all caught up for the first session of the day. Likewise, if you're in Asia or Australia, New Zealand, that comes up a lot as well. It's usually the opposite. You usually miss the first session because you're still sleeping. You join the second and the third session, and then I upload the recording before I go to bed, and you have time that later that day to watch session one. So I try to call them session 1, 2, 3 instead of morning, noon, and evening, because you're all different time zones. So that's fine, as long as you stay caught up. If you just miss a weekend because you're on vacation, that's how that happens. You have families and things are planned, and you just blow it off until next year, you will miss out because the training unfolds. One of the feedback that I got was like, there's a huge learning arc to the training. And so I want you to participate and be involved. Also, it's not just a recording where I'm talking to you. It's not like that. I'm taking questions, I'm fielding questions. I've read your pre-homework, so I'm actually addressing you because I know what questions have come up because I read every single homework assignment that you submit. So I'm calling you by name, saying, hey, Beth, I know that when you had a question in your homework around, the stress strain curve. Did I cover it for you? Was this lecture satisfactory for you? I advocate for your education in this training. So Oh, what I was going to say, I got sidetracked. Not only am I talking and lecturing to you all, but there will be little assignments you have to do. Like, example, after you all read a research paper and discuss the safety of headstand, from the research, you have to get together. I put you in a small group of 2 or 3, and I give a hypothetical question like, you know, you 3 own a yoga studio. What is your headstand policy? Do you let your teachers teach it, or do you not let your teachers teach it, or what? And then you have to like discuss it. The homework isn't like quizzes. The homework is about thinking, right? I'm teaching you to think about things critically. And so then you come back and you report that. So again, if you're just watching the recordings, you're missing out on the mental gymnastics that I promote in the training. Like, I really want you to wrap your head around concepts. And yeah, you'll just miss that. So, okay. I think the best thing to do here is, okay, wait, I'm gonna do a screen share, but there's a question about if you need to have a 200-hour. That question has actually come up a lot. So no, you do not need a 200-hour to take this training. You can absolutely come, from no background certificate or whatever. The only thing I do require is that you have a working knowledge of yoga poses. So if I say warrior 2, you know what that is. I don't have to describe to you or show you what the pose is. You don't need to know the Sanskrit even. Sometimes I use Sanskrit and English interchangeably. You can study Sanskrit on your own. I can give you some resources. We don't spend too much time on that. But I assume that not everybody has the same level of anatomy knowledge. I assume not everybody has the same level of exercise science and biomechanics. So, I'm teaching a comprehensive course. Now, if you want to register with Yoga Alliance for 500 or whatever, this is only a 300-hour training. So you're only getting a certificate for 300-hour. So if you don't have a 200, you can use this 300 as a 200 and then get another 300. You have to deal with Yoga Alliance with that. I don't manage that, but you'll get a certificate from me for completing 300 hours of yoga education. And you can proudly on your website say, I am certified by Jules Mitchell 300 hours. That you can do. Again, if you want to use the Yoga Alliance designation, you have to pay them money and do all that. And we can talk about that if that's your goal on your one-on-ones. But I just wanted to be clear, because I think sometimes people think that Yoga Alliance is me and whatever. I am a Yoga Alliance approved school. That is true. So you can use my certificate and upload it to Yoga Alliance and get credit, but you have to follow their hierarchy of registration things, because they don't certify. They just register teachers. They don't. I certify you. They register teachers. That's why RYT is a registered yoga teacher, or I'm a RYS, registered yoga school. But the certificate comes from me, so I certify you, if that makes sense. Okay, if it doesn't, it makes sense. Okay, good. All right. Okay, let me share screen, because I want to show you kind of back into the spirit of how things go. Okay, so we have 2 portals in the training. We have a social network, and then we have where the training exists. And you'll get way more instruction on this before we meet. I just kind of want to give you an overview of the experience. So this is just like a little private social network. The website is access.julesmitchell.com. Lots of people are in here. These are community feeds, so you might already be a member here. This is, what everyone has access to. My mentoring program lives in here, so this is where the EAP people are. And my teacher training lives in here. So you get your own cohort. I haven't built yours out yet, but you'll have the 2025 teaching cohort. And each of these is private, and in here you'll have your own little group, and you can share and comment, and there's a book recommendation list and all kinds of fun things. So this is where we interact like you would in a Facebook group, but I don't use Facebook. So we have this instead. It's really nice because there's no noise. It's just only us in here. It's only people who've studied with me. So I'll show you how this all works another time. That's not important, but I want you to know we have a social aspect. So again, do you have to attend, or can you just watch the recording? You want to be a part of this. The people that go through my training, they make lifelong friends, they make lifelong networking partners. People have gotten together and created courses. Some of my graduates run online studios and have recruited from other graduates of mine. Like we are a community. So, okay, so that's that. Now, this is last year's cohort. I haven't built yours yet, but I would like you to kind of see how this works. So this is where everything lives, all of the content. So one of the top questions I get is, what is the workload like? So what's really cool is you will get all of the homework in advance. You will get all of the homework on January 1st, if not a little earlier. And it's for the whole year. So there will be no surprises, and you will be able to manage your time. And I have due dates here. So not even, this is stuff that's due from last year. They started in September. You'll start in March. So you'll have homework that's due March 1st. Then you'll have homework that's due April 1st. And then for module 2, you'll have homework that is due probably September 1st. And you'll have homework that is due October 1st. And you will be given all of this up front. So no surprises, which is lovely, right? And then the nice thing is when you click on let's just say you're doing chapter 3, mechanical behavior in my book, you submit the homework right here in the course portal. You hit start and submit right there. But I have a list of the questions that you'll be asked. So while you're reading chapter 3, the questions are up front. I'm not trying to trick you. I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. And so I just want to ask you, what are the 3 factors of mechanical properties, and which one is the focus of this chapter? So as you're reading, you'll find the answers to the questions in there, right? So that's how that works. Let me go back to the homework tab. So again, no surprises. These are all things like listening to a podcast and reading the associated research article. There's 2 books you read entirety, and that's Todd's book, and you'll have plenty of notice, and it's an easy read, plus my book. But my book is broken up into chapters, and you don't even have to do the last chapter until you'll probably have it be due in September of next year, So you have plenty of time, and I lecture on them and all of that. The rest of the books that we have from the book list, those are pretty minor. You read either like a few pages here and there, or you read a section or something. And again, none of this is sprung on you during the training. You will have all of this information January 1st. So you can manage your time. Let's talk about time, right? The sessions are 90 minutes with 90-minute breaks. I do not waste a single minute in this training. Those 90-minute sessions, we are going through the content. I am delivering. I'm not wasting a second. We start exactly on time. If you show up 2 or 3 minutes late, you've missed the welcome intro stuff for that session, and you'll have to catch the recording to get it. Like, I literally start right on time and I end on time. I respect your time. The 90-minute break in between is so you can not only eat, but you can do something else. You can go for a walk. You can answer some emails. You can step away from the computer. You can do laundry. You can take a kid to soccer practice or whatever. That's why the breaks are longer, because I don't want to keep you on the computer all day. I want you to learn, and then I want you to process and live your life and come back ready to learn. And I think 90 minutes is about as much time as you can pay attention solidly. I request that cameras are on. Obviously, not if you're doing something distracting, but otherwise keep your cameras on so I can see you and interact with you and engage with you, and make sure that the learning is happening. Cool. Okay, so all of this homework gets pre-assigned and you're ready to go. Now, you do sometimes inside of the training have small little, I call them assignments, but I'm never going to give you a chapter to read or a full paper to read or something like that. So let me give an example. I categorize these by lectures, workshops, practices. Let's look at like guest teachers. So these are great examples. So we had Angela teach about meditation, and then I gave some study questions. I can't give you these before she lectures because I don't know what she's going to lecture on. I'm writing them while she's lecturing. But the study questions are usually like 3 questions, 5 questions, and they're often just like multiple choice. They're not there to trick you. They're just to make sure that you got the main highlights. You can always go back and watch the recording to answer them, but they're study questions. They're to reinforce your learning. I'm not quizzing you. I'm not testing you. Same thing here. You'll have one for Catherine. So these things pop up. Obviously, you have one for Greg. I think there was 3 questions. I think I asked 1 question from each video, and they were, again, multiple choice, or sometimes they're true false or something like that, but really simple. Here's a great example as well. Here's an assignment only if you were not in session 3. Sometimes we do these assignments as a group. For this one, it was Dr. Marcia, and we kind of unmuted our cameras and had a conversation about accessibility in our spaces and our website. And if you weren't there, I want to know what you think. So then if you are not there for that session, you will have to type into the comments. And let me give you an example. You'll have to type into the comments below your answer, and that's it. Pretty simple. I check it off as completed, and we move on. So that's what those little assignments are. You'll never be given a homework. You'll just be asked to kind of recall or participate in discussions. So that's that. And then let me also go over here and just show you, and then we'll talk about the elective. But let me show you the bonus content. The really nice thing about this training is you get a lot of bonus content. So you'll all get complimentary science of stretching. You'll get probably the one in between modules 1 and 2. So July 2025, you'll get complimentary access to. And then everybody who signs up for the webinar only gets 30 days access, but you'll get it forever. I'll put it here and it will live here. That recording will live here, and you'll have a small little assignment. Again, it's like 3 questions, and it's like, what was new to you? What did you already know? Like questions like that, not like, something that's there to trip you up. I just want to know what you think. Okay, so then also you'll get access to a book club. I have a book club starting in January. You'll get complimentary access to that. And same thing, everyone who signs up gets 30 days access. You'll get access forever. Each book club will live here for you. And it's really like an hour of me talking about the chapter. And the really nice thing is the things I talk about, the discussion topics that I encourage, are the same questions as your homework. So I'm here to help you learn my book. It's a challenging read. You've got the book club, and you've not only got the book club, but you've got me lecturing. I will lecture about chapter 1 and chapter 3 and chapter 4, so you get all of that. Here's my mechanical behavior. So you have the book, you have my lectures, you have a book club, and you have one-on-ones with me. So I'm very invested in you all learning this material. It's really an empowering training. I think your confidence will go through the roof. You'll be very, very well-versed in biomechanics, pain science, somatics, all of that. Let's talk about the elective. The elective is a simple assignment, and it won't be due, yours will be due, like, I think it's like March 2026 or something like that, a year from when you start. And it just needs to be something by a South Asian or Desi teacher, and we'll go over the details, but it's not included in the training. But it's not, doesn't need to be a big, like, 100-hour module. Usually the average is like 3 or 4 hours is usually the typical length. And it's just something to show you another side. Someone just did something really interesting on mudra, which was great because I talk a lot about gesturing. Someone else just recently did something on bandhas, which is really great because I talk about breathing mechanics, and so the crossover there. There's some really cool stuff. And also you have a guest teacher, Indu, who will do a 90-minute presentation on kind of the history of yoga and over the years. And she also runs a course that is really great. So you will have the ability to do your elective with her. And I think it's like a 3-hour online thing. So nothing to stress about. Don't have to worry about it now. But I think sometimes people are like, oh no, I have to do this whole other thing. No, it's just something small to complement what you're up to. Maybe you want to take a business thing or listen to a few podcast series or something. I will help you. And we create a post in the social network where everybody puts their suggestions. So if you can give a suggestion and then maybe you see someone else suggested something that is more interesting to you, and then you can take that one instead. You're not obligated to commit to your own suggestion. So it's really just about a collaborative and getting exposure to South Asian teachers. That's the point of it. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop share. Check out my notes just to make sure. Are there any questions while I'm doing that? You get one-on-ones before module 1, between module 1 and 2, and after. And I'll talk more about that in the introduction, welcome videos and stuff. Let's see. Okay, there's a question. Okay, got it. So this is a question about the content. And so let me kind of, okay, I have this much stuff to teach in the training, and we're going to get to about this much. So my teaching style is very fluid. I have a strong outline of exactly what I want to cover, and we will cover as much of it as as we can, but I leave a little wiggle room. So if you are really inquiring about strength, for example, I might take a strength lecture that I might have saved for module 2 in resistance stretching and move it up into module 1 because it's been a topic of conversation. Those are the questions that you're asking after reading chapter 1. So it doesn't matter what order you learn things in, because you're learning in layers and you're stacking. So I'm not attached to a curriculum. If you are really interested in muscle spindles, we might spend an extra 20 minutes on muscle spindles after the Science of Stretching webinar because you have questions about that. If you are really interested in strength variables, or you are really interested in the various types of somatics, I might do a deeper dive into body mind centering than I normally do. I might do a shoulder workshop as the very first workshop we do. And then another year, nobody's talking about the shoulder, and the shoulder workshop comes later in the year. So it's very fluid and it's based on your participation. I'm here to teach you. I know this stuff. I'm not talking into a camera to keep myself entertained. I'm like, from the bottom of my heart, I want to share this knowledge with you. So just know that whatever your interests are, we'll get to it, obviously, as long as it fits in the confines of the training. And I'm really casual about letting things unfold. And sometimes I'll be like, oh, I was going to do that the next time we meet. Let's actually do it now. Yeah, I love this training. It's really my favorite thing to do every year. I just really connect with all of you so much, and we all just form such a great relationship. And I'm here for you. Just in June, so it's now July, but in June, I hosted my first graduate gathering where only graduates were invited. And they all came to Las Vegas, 36 people from all over the world, Taiwan, Singapore, UK, Germany, Mexico, Canada, everywhere. They all came to Las Vegas, and we did 4 days of like refresher training on some of the content that's better done in person than online. And it was phenomenal. And people, like, we did marketing and networking meetings, and people connected with each other from various years and made new friends. And it was like, it was the happiest I've ever been that I really had this community. And I will host another one in June of 2026. So save the date, because if you join, you'll be invited to that. And it's always a really great time anytime we're gathering with past grads. Okay, so I think that really covers it. If there's any follow-up questions, just reach out. I'm happy to answer. And sometimes I type a message, and as some of you know, sometimes I just jump on and do a quick record like this and explain, because I think sometimes you get more of the experience when I use my words that verbally rather than written. So thanks for your time. If there's no other questions. Okay. Bye.